is the title of this?
Get paid a
All
lot.
right, here it goes.
Get paid a lot. That's pretty
Get paid a
much
lot. No. When to give it away and when to charge for it. Knowing you notice that I'm doing the glasses thing. It's time for the bifocals. When to give it away and when to charge for it. Knowing your worth, assessing others, and how to make ends meet as a sex-positive professional. This is what I will be talking about. Is this the room you want to be in?
Yes.
Okay. What was it about? How many of you meeting? Like, you maybe saw me at the conference, but how many of you seeing me present for the first time? Oh my God. Okay, I have to warn you about a couple of things. Okay.
As he falls to the table.
That was the last. Yeah, don't sit on the French road. So in the sex ed world, I am known as the golden retriever on espresso of sex educators. You can totally tweet that. That's, you know. So I am a geek. Like, I will get like very muppet-y up here and like start, you know, doing my thing. That's normal for me. And how many of you teach or want to be teaching as part of what you do for a living? Okay. So from a meta perspective, watch what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, because like just steal, copy and paste all the stuff that I'm doing and just do it. If this is your style, okay? Part of the how I do what I do, I am just a total dork and a goofball, but this is also like, it's fucking 9 a.m. on Sunday. Like, I got only a couple hours of sleep last night. Like, you have to generate the energy that you want in the room for your audiences. So the little, you know, the Rick James right there, and, you know, like this, like, I'm being the change I want to see in the workshop. Okay? This is how you, like, so, you know, copy and paste the things that work for you from what I'm doing, because I'm a geek about presentation and workshop design, like all of it is really important to me, because, you know, people having the permission to be more self-expressed in their relationships, not having to reinvent the wheel. Like, I don't want people to have to go through what my mom and dad went through. They loved each other very much in a stubborn New England kind of way. And then my brothers and I watched what happens when two people who are in a long-term relationship don't know how to communicate through their upsets and talk about what their wants, needs, and desires are. And it got fucked up. Like my mom and dad living in a van, kind of fucked up. Weird stuff. Not that I have anything against people who live in vans. I don't want to be a vanist. That was way funnier. Okay, that was good. Good. Okay. So, you know, so this is what I do, and this is why I do it. And around people having permission to figure out what their lives are about sexually, like that shit is sacred to me. So please don't mistake my, you know, swear words and how I, you know, am flippant about things to mean that this stuff isn't really, really important. I'm using humor and talking casually about this to role model for other people that they can be casual about how they talk about, like talking about sex doesn't have to feel like going to the dentist. So this is part of why I do what I do, and I just happen to be like this naturally anyway. Okay? Take a deep breath. And go, oh! Go, money! Fuck! Go, people! Who won't pay me money?
Pay me money.
Fuck! Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to show you how to give it back to them. All right. So there's a couple of things. Again, this is all, you know, for me as a geek, trying to figure out how to get paid and how to teach other people how to get paid. I'm gonna, you know, because we only have an hour, I'm just gonna tell you what to do. And then you just listen to it like it's advice. And I'm not telling you. So I'm gonna be a little bit more declarative with it, because this is, if I only had, I don't know, an hour, and we're never going to talk again, this is everything. This is my best stuff for you to shorten your learning curve. And you guys are going to have to figure out your own, how it's going to come through you. All right? So, I go to a lot of conferences and I don't get paid. Like, I give a lot of stuff away. And some of the best thinking out there about how to make a living as an expert, right? Expert positioning, The first person you should just check out is Brendan Bouchard, because he's one of Kathy and I go to all of his stuff. And if you go to his website through my website, it's an affiliate link, and I'll make money if you spend money with Brendan. But if you just go on, I don't care how you get there, check out his stuff because he has a bunch of stuff. Is it B-U-R or B?
Bouchard.
Brew? That's how smart I am.
It's B-U-R. It's
B-U-R?
Bouchard. It's Bouchard. She said B-U-R.
There we go. Okay. So, sorry, Brendan. Okay, so Brendan's like even more of a geek than I am around this kind of stuff. And he has a lot of free stuff that you can watch, like training videos, on all his websites. If you go to my website, it's called Relationship 10X, but I couldn't believe that R10X was still available. So just go to R10X, sign up, and then watch what's happening after you sign up. Because this is one of the ways I pay for coming here, is I talk for free and I'm very charismatic and la 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 la, and then I say go to my website, sign up for stuff. There's a bunch of free training on my site. People go, they sign up, there's like 3 or 4 videos, and I'm talking about relationships and being my dorky self. So they're getting a chance to experience my tone, what I look like, do they resonate with me, while I'm teaching them. 90% of the people who go to your websites, how many people don't have a web, or that's website shaming. How many people have a website? Don't be a website shamer, right? Okay. You're gonna need a website at some point. Again, this is just all like, this is what I would tell you if I only had an hour to tell you. Get a website, create amazing content, whatever that is, whatever your area of expertise is, and give away a bunch of that training for free. The old model was, I'm going to tell you what you get when you buy this product. That doesn't work anymore. What you want to do is, if 90% of the people who are going to come to your site aren't going to buy anyway, change their lives then. And then they'll be like, holy shit, did you see this video on this website? And they're going to send all their friends there. Because you already do that. You do that on Facebook. How many of you post sex-positive geeky stuff? Hello? Right? You post, oh my God, Reid's Relationship 10X to all your friends, and then a bunch of them see it, and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. They tell all their friends, and then whoever ends up going through the videos, at the end I'm like, listen, if this was good, and you liked it, then there's a whole 6-week course that you have to pay for. Pay for it! And you just, that's the sales, basically. And then people who are ready, who want that stuff, they buy it. It's like magic. But unless you have stuff for people to buy, they can't pay you. So I can't be here for free. Because I pay for my trips, for the most part, off of the things that are on my website that are ready for people to purchase. So having that kind of system is basically called a back end. So my back end is well developed. And people want to take a look at my back end after they've met me. This make sense? Okay? Now, for how many of you are bloggers? Or that's free training. You're giving away free training or free recommendations, whatever those things are, so that people get to know you and like your stuff. And then when you recommend things, they're like, oh my God, let me go check that out. Is this making sense? So one of the things you have to do is be able to create content, not super hard. And guess what? Oh my God, Reid has a product for that on his freaking website. So whatever your area of specialty is, you just build little products, whether it's an audio podcast kind of a thing, or an ebook, which is a bunch of your newsletters, or it's a workshop, that's videotaped and online. And you set those things up so that the people who are following you for the things that you're good at, when they have needs that need fulfilling, you can just be like, well, I have this. Go buy that if you need it. And it's really that simple, because I was never good at sales. It felt weird. And so now, the model that Brendan and a bunch of other people recommend is train people for free, so that they go recommend your stuff to other people and you change their lives. So for those of you who are like, I hate money, awesome. Go design a bunch of really kick-ass free training and then design some more and say, hey, if this stuff was useful for you, buy this other thing because I need to pay my rent.
And free stuff is, so, and then just leaning on.
And he just
I
had,
thank you, Reid, for it.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
He happens to be the person I geek out on because I'm personally really picky about tone. And now you may look at Brendan and he's not resonating with you. There are other people in this space who do that kind of coaching. Go find somebody whose tone works for you, but also in a meta way, watch, oh my God, like I don't resonate with Brendan. I resonate with so-and-so. The people you teach, the people who go to your websites are having the same experience. Oh my God, I'm not resonating with you. But if you recommend other people on your site, that you're still being of service. So this is how I deal with the fact that I was weird with money. And so I'm like, so I just still give it away, and that makes me feel really good. And then I just design stuff for people to go deeper. And then I feel good about it because you already got to know me through some of the free stuff, and you can figure out, for the most part, I have to give you reasons, like educate you sales-wise why this course is worth whatever it's worth. But it helped me get at peace with me recommending people spend a lot of money with me. And I still had that issue. So if you really front load the stuff that you're good at and make you feel solid, you can then start dipping your toe into what's vulnerable more powerfully, I think. It's just easier. Because I don't need to coach you necessarily through your money shit. Give more stuff away, and then do what I tell you, which is make a product that's like 47 bucks or something. You sell 10,000 of those, have a great life. Do your taxes too. It's a bitch, okay? Take a deep breath, and go. So I'm gonna get to pricing in a second, so automatically look at what are you already doing for free that makes you happy. I love people. I used to be in TV a long time ago and was on soap operas and stuff, so I love the camera, right? I think I'm a horrible writer, even though people say, Reid, you're a great writer. But, I think I'm a horrible writer, so it's hard for me to write, but easy for me to turn on the camera and be like, hello, everybody. So what do? I shoot a lot of video. And then I send it, and Kathy was really sweet, and she's like, just give me your fucking video, and I'm gonna go get it transcribed. I'm like, really? Words magically appear. And then, oh my God, there's an article. I'm a genius. Figure out what you're already doing that's easy for you, and then leverage that in how you give stuff away for free and what will eventually be your products. Because your self-expression as a sex educator and the mediums that come naturally for you, that excite you to teach through, those are the ones you should leverage first. If you don't like being in front of live audiences, do not throw a live weekend. And if you have money issues, do not charge $2,000 per person for it. You'll freak the fuck out. Go, if you're like, oh my God, I love podcasting, create like 6, audios for, this topic for 6 weeks, whatever that is, $47, boom, right? And then you give away a bunch of free audios to get people excited and to educate them. So leverage what you're already good at in creating these things. Yes? Yeah, you can totally ask questions too. Just raise your hand and interrupt me because there's no flow here.
So when you're selling something online, do you use PayPal for sales?
Yeah, you
Because
can.
I've heard that
Like my credit used to be horrible. I'm just now rebuilding my credit so that I can have a merchant account, be like a real business. But I've been using PayPal for like 10 years now.
Because some sex educators have reported PayPal shutting them down because
Yes.
of the topics.
So if you have the word sex in your URL, okay, or in the front part, I am, Yahoo 69 cum slut, right? You want to have emails? Whoever had that email now, just happened. Have emails for PayPal that do not have the word sex in them and do not feel like they're sexualized. Like my PayPal address, for those of you who want to donate, is workshops@reidnahalko.com, not read@readaboutsex. Okay, and if you're giving away erotic services, PayPal may shut you down. So you just need to like, just cloak that a little bit. And you know, if you're a sex worker, then come see me and we'll actually talk about how to wrangle that. But for most of you as sex educators who aren't doing hands-on, like, you know, inside work, you don't need to be dealing with that, okay? That's international sign here, international sign for hand sex. Do it with me. I'm being interactive, right? It's 9 a.m.
Yeah, it's
Right?
just best to have an umbrella because I had to do that because I have like several things that's sexual, so I just did a Cloudbox 9 and that's my umbrella to use through PayPal.
Perfect.
But
So
if
that's
if you have multiple PayPal accounts though, to do that kind of separate things, PayPal will shut down your regular one if they figure out that it's the same person as
right, and that's why we did the umbrella because we have several different things.
Yeah. If you're actually doing hands-on work, like talk to Faye. No, but like,
don't have any.
but or come talk to me, right? But for most of you, that's not what we're dealing with. Yes.
Sorry,
No. No, please.
related to PayPal and more erotic kind of stuff, they will shut you down, especially if they find out that you've been lying to them. They will be really upset about it, and they will take the money that you have earned back. That has happened to several friends of mine, where they end up having PayPal thousands of dollars. It's terrible because you did do that work, and then they want it back.
Take terms of service seriously.
And you can use, you can set up a business account using CCBill or Zonbio.
Perfect.
And there's something else, but you do have to set up your own business for that. Without setting up your own business, you can use Twala.
Yeah.
TWOLLA.
Go talk to, what's your name?
Isabel.
Go talk to Isabel, you know, after class for those things, okay? So take a deep breath. Good. Okay, so value. Okay? Let's assume whatever you're doing, whether it's teaching teens or, you know, working with abuse victims, whatever the you know, survivors, whatever that is, let's assume what you're giving them is priceless. There is no way they can pay for it. That's how I deal with it. I'm like, awesome. Like, it's not like, oh, time is money. Like, what? I can change your life in one conversation. How do I charge for that? Okay? So just, in my opinion, just throw that out the window. What I think was really useful is, let's say you're going to work with somebody for 2 hours, or even an 8-hour day, and they are a son of a bitch, and they are so much work, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm just gonna start cutting myself. This is hard, like you're dragging me through hell. How much do you need to get paid at the end of the day, walking out of hell and be like, that was okay? What is your resentment rate? So that you will not resent your attendees or your clients. Figure that number out. You might not be there yet to charge it, but the rates I charge are basically help me to not be angry at you for not learning fast enough or not having, being kind and gracious to me. Like, you want to be getting paid enough so that those people are like, okay, you're just having a bad day. And then at the end of the day, you're like, wow, that was a lot. But I made this much money, and I'm okay with that. So that's one side of the scale. The other side of the scale is, what do you actually need to be making to survive? Like, what's your monthly nut? Like, how much does it cost you to be, alive each month? That's different for everybody. And do that math just so that you can be like, okay, so, if I work 40 hours a week at this much, that my bills are kind of paid, and I'm putting a little bit in the bank. It's a whole other thing, savings, like sex educators and savings. Woo. Revolutionary, right? When you have those two figures, you now have kind of a range that you're starting with, and we're going to create another point. What's that point? What's the number that freaks your shit out? When you're like, you look at the check, like Will Smith has a song and he goes, my paycheck has so many zeros, it goes, ooh. Like, what's that number where you're like, oh, I'm going to have to deal with some abundance issues? Like I got paid 10 grand once to coach a couple for like not even like it was 2 weeks, but it was not 2 weeks worth of work. I freaked out. I didn't know what to do because I'd never gotten paid that much. I was like, oh, and I had to deal with it. Yeah.
How do I get to $10,000 for 2 weeks?
We'll work on that in a second.
I'll deal with the abundance when I get there.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
Okay. So when you have your abundance number, okay, now this is how I do it. Okay, I have a sliding scale because I work with all populations for the most part. Okay, I've got to work with me for a couple hours. It's at least $250 or $300. Not everybody has that, so I have a bunch of other products I can recommend people to for $47, $97, that kind of stuff, right? And then people who can't afford me, one-on-one. It starts at $250, and it says on my website you can pay me $5 grand for an hour's worth of work. I'm still waiting for that person because that will flip my shit out. Me personally, I'll be like, whoa, how do I deal with that? But I'm giving people a choice. I'm educating them on how they can give back to me for something that's priceless. And the reason I have it says $5,000 is I work with people in Hollywood, and if I just charge them $300, they won't take me seriously. And so my site says, I work with everybody, pay what you can afford. And then I really don't have to deal with it because $250 for a session with me, enough of those in a month, that pays my bills. So I don't have to kind of worry about it so much. And the pace, the sliding rate may work for you, it may not. Everyone's different. Some people are like, here's my hard line. What's useful about this though, when you start setting up what your pay scale is or what your rates are, you now have a policy. You can make an exception and it still has integrity. If you don't have policies, everything's wishy-washy and then you're just trying to price it according to what you think they can afford. And you don't know what they can afford, really. Some people are super poor and they'll put everything on credit. That's their thing. I get weird about that, but maybe you're like, that's awesome, and then some people you think it's, they can only afford $60 and they're like, no, here's $600 cash. And you're like, whoa, I should have charged you more. Okay, take a deep breath. And go. If you don't know what you need to make to live, like what your bottom line is for your rates, it's really hard to price stuff, like actual FaceTime stuff or speaking gig stuff. And then when you create a bunch of products that are a bunch of stuff that's free, some stuff that's maybe $7 for an ebook, 27, 47, 97, 197. They've done studies, end things in sevens. People buy more when it ends in a 7. It's been tested over and over again. It's true for America, and I think it's true for other cultures as well. I don't need to know why. I just end most things in 7s, on the off chance that they're right. Right? But
Right, but in some cultures, a 7 is a lucky number, it's prosperity.
so whatever that is, right?
Is that like for a product or for a workshop?
For a product.
For a product.
For workshops, I charge $20 for a lot of my stuff because most people can go to the ATM, take out a 20, hand it to me, sit down, life's changed, thank you so much. I'm going to go to your website now, just like you told me. But the reason I'm charging 20 for some, and this again, you're going to have your own feelings on this. I'm charging 20 because I'm making it easy for people to say yes. Because I'm going to make money off you later. I'm just trying to pay for my plane ticket to whatever. You're going to have to, if you work with really high-end people, like you're in luxury items, you cannot charge $20. They will not feel safe. You're going to charge, $100 or $199 or whatever for a 2-hour workshop because that's what they need. So also it's about starting to understand what your demographics are.
So just to restate, when the workshop is an introduction and there's a product available that you're basically selling, workshops are really cheap. But if the workshop is the teaching, they need to pay for the workshop.
Yes or no? You should basically, the big piece here is you all want to be developing your back end. Because online, this is why, all right? The projections are in the next 3 to 4 years, 3 billion new people will come online for the first time. 80% of them or more will be on smartphones. If you do not have digital products for them to buy and a website that is mobile friendly, you're leaving money on the table. And from an educated perspective, there's a whole population I'm not able to reach. So I don't teach kids, but all my stuff is for the most part, is smartphone friendly. They'll find my stuff. And I don't, because my personal life is, I'm very open about my personal life, like, it's amazing when anyone hires me to talk to teenagers. I'm like, really? Are you going to lose your job by hiring me? Go to my website and look at, I'm a slut. What are you doing? Okay? So, for those of you who work in organizations, you should still have a back end for things because part of your work is me. Here's me. Get to know me. When you go to another organization, you're like, hire me. I'm this person who has this expertise in all these areas. So you can make it easier for you to get a job in some ways by basically creating all this free training and all these products so that people are like, oh my God, like, we're hiring this person. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. Like, that's the other piece too to understand. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, figure out if you're an entrepreneur or if you should be working for somebody. There's a lot of value judgment in our society about it, but understand this. Do you want to be responsible for your own paycheck and doing your own taxes, or do you just want at the end of the week somebody to be like, great job, here's your paycheck? Everyone's different. I cannot work for other people. So I figured that out, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I have to do my due diligence and do all the work that I have to do on the other side of it to run a business. Some people should be working for, Good Vibes or, whatever store, because that's where you're going to feel more rested and your nervous system's not going to freak out. Some people love to hustle and get their paycheck, and working for a boss freaks out their nervous system. So which one makes you happiest? And then design and leverage your career in those ways. Yeah.
I'm going to go pragmatic for 2 seconds. So if you go the entrepreneur route, which is very attractive, health insurance.
Yeah, I haven't had health insurance, and I'm just at a point now where I'm making enough money to get health insurance for me. And I know that there are like health insurance experts in the room. They're like, no, you can do it for $10 on Geico. What?
I just think in Massachusetts is one of the answers. Massachusetts.
Is the answer?
It's an amazing answer.
42. Canada.
I have that health insurance.
Canada's not the answer.
Hang on. What?
I have an answer for all 50 states, which is that it isn't immediate, but 2014, people who are self-employed will be able, because of Obamacare, what will change on the 1st of 2014 is that you will then be able to buy an individual health plan as a group of one.
Cool.
So it changes, you gotta hold out for 1 more year with no health insurance, and then it won't be perfect, but we will all have.
It will be better.
There's a special market being set up so that we have
Perfect.
access to group rate.
Thank you. Take a deep breath. Like we're just diving into all the stuff. And I still get triggered by this stuff. Like it's not like on a good day, it doesn't show. On a bad day, I'm like, I am worthless. So what you want to do is as you figure out your community here, find out who's really good at this kind of stuff, and then find out what they're bad at. And if you're good at what they're bad at, trade. Like my business has grown a lot from people helping me. And I grew up in an alcoholic family, so I'm not good at asking for help. So you have to, this is, you owning your own business or you getting paid for what you're worth is your own workshop. What are you afraid of? Make your little fear list. These are all the things I hate doing because I'm afraid to do them. Make that list. And then once a week, check one of those things off. Go do that, or have friends hold you accountable and go do that with you, whatever that is. Like I had back taxes forever. Somebody help me with those. Who loves fucking taxes? I'm like, oh my God, they get gleeful. Really? I kid you not. And they're in this room. But they will not do your taxes. Because they're doing mine. But like, use your friends, and it's vulnerable. Okay, so we understand the valuing piece. Okay, I really think that the easy answer is what you're giving people is priceless. So start figuring out charging what you need to make your life work. Now you have your policies, so you can make exceptions. And once you start building a back end, and there's more for people to buy from you, your services, you have your service page or your store page, so they know what's there, then you can start making more money off the back end. Yeah.
Are you doing any analysis based on your hit counts and everything else? What percentage of the free consumers stay free consumers and don't put any revenue in the pot?
Doesn't matter.
Well,
They're telling all their friends.
All right, so, but your friends still equal hits. So it's like, okay, I put up a free workshop, I get 10,000 eyeballs on it.
Yep.
I sell 2 products. Next week, I get another 10,000 eyeballs from their friends. I sell 3 products. I mean, do you have any sense of what that ratio
Yeah,
looks
I
like?
mean, so like what Jim's talking about is like conversion rates,
Yeah.
and now we can have a conversation about sales pages and things like that. That there's a lot of geekery on that stuff that you can get really good at. Some of the problem's going to be like you're still going to need to start creating free product that really like lets people know who you are and shows them that you create great content. If you're not creating great content, this doesn't work at all. Because you can have a great converting sales page and then a crappy product, and people take it and they're like, well, that sucked. And like your career doesn't go anywhere. All right? So that's a little bit more crazy. I mean, for the conversion stuff is not my area of expertise, and it's a little bit more than the scope of this. But once you have some products that are selling, you can start tweaking the conversion stuff, the sales page stuff. So for me, like I'm not a statistics person, so I don't know.
So as long as you get enough, you're happy.
I mean, I know how my career is moving forward, and I'll talk about that in a second. But yes.
Before we move on to the sales page stuff, and I apologize because I was late and you may have covered it before I got here. One of the major problems that I run into personally with the product that I offer is I know if I hear from customers that my product is superior, but my market is saturated. And it's hard for me to, because it's one of these places where it's still considered volunteerism to the community or paying back or whatever, like, it's hard for me to say, the reason you want me is because I'm more organized and my material's better, and how do I do that without seeming like I'm saying, that guy over there is an asshole, hire me instead?
Okay. You want to read a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. How many people have heard of Cirque du Soleil? Okay. How many people have heard of Barnum and Bailey's? Whenever Cirque du Soleil started, like before that, no one was getting into the circus business. It was a failing market. Like it was, there was no money in it. And what Cirque du Soleil did is they reinvented what a circus was. So one of the things that you can consider is creating that your work is so distinctive and so amazing that, why am I going to anybody else but you? I don't, that's pretty much my marketing. Like, I am so distinct in my field, and my content's so rich that it kind of markets itself in some ways. And then I just, I'm doing my thing, creating more content, doing the stuff that I do, that I love doing, and then go to my website and click on store, and you can figure out how you want to hire me. I'm not spending a lot of time trying to generate leads. My reputation generates that. So I don't have to put other people down. I just keep building me as being more awesome. Okay? And so it's more, and Blue Ocean Strategy talks about that. So I don't really compete with other people so much as I just be me, and then you figure out if you want me or not. And the job of my website and of stuff that I do is, my offers is for them to be clear so that people can look and be like, oh, okay, we can hire Reid for something. Is this making sense? I mean, this is a big overview and we only have, we've got like 10 minutes left.
Reid, can I add something to that?
Yeah.
So it's hard to sell yourself, right? Like it's hard to convince people they want you, and you need other people to do that for you. So like add a testimonial section to your website so other people can say why you're better.
Yeah.
Because like, you know you're awesome, and you're never going to be able to fully convince that to other people. They just need to, other people need to say, and you need to let other people, trust other people to do your work.
And know this, right? You only need like 3 testimonials. Like they've done studies on that. If you have a page of like 50 testimonials, there are people that will read it, but it's not necessarily created, like have testimonials. What you want is you want people recommending you for your stuff. So just tell your friends and your followers, hey, tell one person about my stuff today. But unless you start having these things in set up, it's hard to send people to things. Like for the longest time, I didn't have a store page. Some friends helped me with my store page. Guess what happened? I started selling more things. Because people were coming to my website and getting excited, and there was no way for them to contribute. And for some people, the way that they contribute is by giving you money. And then doing more of your stuff. Other business models just to be aware of. Okay, there's sponsorship models. You can go to, like an Eros and be like, hey, I'm doing this workshop tour or whatever. Do you want to help sponsor it? But you have to get really clear about why should they be giving you money. I'm just the world's most awesome sex educator ever. Well, that makes no sense for them. So when you're talking to people who run businesses or in even organizations, the quick thing to ask them is, what are their initiatives? Like, what are you trying to get accomplished this year? How can I help? And sometimes the way that you can help isn't going to get you paid right away. So the AVN Awards a couple of years ago, they wanted me to bring in a bunch of bloggers and sex educators, and for me to be on a panel. And I'm like, tell me about your entire event. And like, oh, we have the O Awards and this and that. And I'm like, what are the O Awards? Oh, they're like the Academy Awards for sex toys. I'm like, I want to host it. I want to be the Bob Hope of sex toys. And they're like, we've never had another person host it before. I'm like, well, would you be willing for it to be me? And they're like, okay. And I'm like, do you have a budget? That's another really great question. Do you have a budget? Ask people. Oh my God, I'm really interested in working with you. Well, what's your budget? Figure out from them if they have money or not, and then how it fits into the rest of your system, so to speak. But, so I do the AVN Awards for free. Everybody had a great time. And hosting is one of my things. It might not be your thing. But what was great is, it was the easiest way for me to get in front of all the business owners in the sex toy industry and show them how great I was. Wouldn't you like me talking about your products? And then I went around at that expo, and I just talked to all the company owners, and I'm like, okay, so who's in charge of the money? Who writes the checks? I want to talk to them. What are you trying to accomplish? How can I help? And I helped a lot of companies with doing stuff for free, and now I have all these relationships, and I can be like, hey, I need like 20 of your products for something I'm doing. Can you send me a bunch? And they're like, yes. And then I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing, like, do you want to help sponsor it? What kind of budget do you have? So there's like sponsorship models you can get money in those ways. Hard to make a living off of sponsorships though. Just know that. Yep.
The word on sponsorship, you might think that like nobody will listen to you, nobody cares, but you're whatever. But you actually have a lot that you can give in trade to sponsors, right? So I wrote to like 20 companies looking for money and just gave them a comprehensive list of things I could do for them through my site, and 17 of them completely ignored me. But 3 of them wrote back and were like, that's awesome, have this money.
Yeah.
And all I have to give them is like, I will tweet about your stuff, and I will write a post about your stuff, and that's stuff you can do to get build a relationship.
And again, like, you just don't send an email. Like, you're building a relationship with people. Like, if you guys haven't been to the sponsorship room and talked sport sheets, Tom, right? He's the CEO. He's the one who tells people, write this check. You guys should know him. He also seems like a pretty cool guy, and the sport sheet stuff is neat.
He's always at presentations because I am in Orlando and the Orlando Stars Fair Villa, and he's always there, and he talks to everybody like he's your best friend.
They're people too, right? And you're building relationships with them. We only have a couple more minutes, so the other piece I want to share is if you work for nonprofits, or you want to work with nonprofits. Nonprofits, the big thing is they want more followers and more donations, reductively speaking. If I can bring you all this exposure and help you raise more money, would that be useful for you? Most nonprofits are like, yes. And I'm like, awesome, this is what would work really well for me in exchange. Can you tell all the people you already have about, our 10X or whatever? And I'll shoot a special video just for your, organization about whatever you're doing this year. Like, you can start creating these relationships with people, and then you have a funnel system where you have products that you can get people to recommend for you. That's the basic piece, and why I'm teaching this piece is it's the most scalable one. Because the more traffic you have to your websites and the more well-known you are, if that's who you want to be. If you don't want to be known at all, you can still create products on a website. You don't have to be the front person for it. But this piece is scalable, and more people are going to be getting their sex education online and off their phones. That's the future. And live events, people book me for live events now because they've heard about me from everybody. And so and you go to my website and you learn how you can book me. And so then you're creating this machine that hopefully will work for you and build your reputation at the same time.
Alright, I read the thing wrong, you still have 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes? Awesome, thank you. All right, take a deep breath. And go. So turn to the people next to you. You do like groups of 2 or 3. Introduce yourselves. Really, just like, hi, my name's Reid. Not like, oh, well, I was born in Pelham, New Hampshire. You have a minute each in your groups. I'm going to give you 3 minutes total to share anything that's been useful here so far. Okay, so you're going to anchor for yourself something that's been useful, and also share with somebody else because you're going to help them anchor more information. Ready? Teaching tactic. Ready, set, go. 3 minutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And scene. Everybody take a deep breath. Go. How many anatomy geeks in the room? Go learn a lot about the vagus nerve. That's why I have you guys breathe. You actually learn to trust me more, but we're not sure that that's actually true. But it changes people's states. Okay, there was one thing I wanted to say, and now I'm going to forget about it. I'm actually quite insecure. So the voices in my head, when I teach for a long time, the hamsters crawl out of dark places and start running on big wheels, squeaky wheels. Just a couple of people just share 1 or 2 things that were useful today, and it'll quiet my hamsters while I try to remember what my other point was.
Just to remember to barter, to grow, or to help
Yeah,
us grow.
she's talking about bartering and trading services. Now, understand, bartering's tricky. People want to barter with me, they have to do their stuff first. Just, if they don't show up and do it, then I don't have to do dick for you. So don't, barter, they do their work first, and then you're the one who has to show up. That's my advice on bartering, because it's really tricky, because people in your community, it's like herding butterflies with workshop facilitators. Other stuff useful.
It was really useful your idea to have a policy, how to figure out your policy, your charging policy, and then from there you can make an exception. It still has integrity. I like that very much.
Great.
Instead
Thank
of
you.
just, well, let's see, what can I charge this time?
Yeah, because it's once you figure that out, it's easy to say no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't do that. It doesn't work. I will get angry at you if I say yes. And then I will be the one who's burned out. And if you went to Amy's burnout class. It was awesome. But like now, a lot of you are angry and burnt out because you're not taking care of yourselves by honoring your boundaries around pricing and what your time is worth. Which again, what you give people is priceless. You get to figure out what your time is worth. And I suggest start looking at what I need to make for my life to work. Okay, so now I know what my point is, and this is going to sound, I want you to watch what I'm doing with everything we talked about, okay? So, I sell these shirts. It's advertising. I spend a lot of money on these shirts so that they will last forever, because it's worth my money for you to wear this shirt for the next 15 years, right? So now people are associating this kind of stuff with me, and they're like, where'd you get that shirt? Oh, I got it at readaboutsex.com. Just go to readaboutsex.com/store. They're right there, right? The other thing that's interesting, for those of you on Twitter, watch what happens. Get on Twitter right now. This is a little scary for me because I know that this works and it's vulnerable for me to do this, but I'm illustrating a point. Tweet, you know, however you want to say it, do me a favor or check out r10x.com and sign up for the free videos. Reid's awesome. And then watch the Twitter stream, watch what happens with people retweeting you. And then that's this in effect. So I can stand up in front of a room of college students and say, everybody get your phones out. Because now that they've had me do my song and dance and they love me, right? They're my minions now. My Sex Geek minions. I say, tweet this to your friends. Post it on Facebook. Figure out if you're a cat or a dog when it comes to romance. And then my job is to make sure my sales page at the end of those videos converts well. And I'm still tinkering with that. But I'm just giving all the people who want to sign up for that, I gave them, you know, like half an hour, an hour's worth of free relationship geek training. And then for those, some of them will buy the course. And then I go off to the next thing. Does this make sense? Yeah. So that's this in working in action.
Reid, are you using all your free content to build your list?
Yeah. Go to readaboutsex.com/newsletter. Sign up and get the free ebook on romance or whatever it is this week. In that free book, it says, share this with everybody. It also says in that book, if you want to become an affiliate of mine and make a percentage off of what your friends buy, sign up for the affiliate. We'll put the links in the ebook, and you can send it to all your friends forever. And then some of you will make some money off of that. Like, these are systems that are working in other areas of business. I just went out, geeked out with this stuff, and I'm bringing it into the sex ed world. And mostly part of what you need to worry about is terms of service with, you know, other companies. And we can always geek out more about that. Okay, so we're almost out of, is that like the almost out of time? Or?
10 minutes.
Oh, we have another 10 minutes?
Yeah, I read it wrong.
This is awesome! So take a deep breath and go, oh my God, I feel like I'm in Brigadoon or something. It's like, we live forever! Brigadoon. All right, questions? Oh, that was me. That was my time. Okay, questions, yeah.
Not a question, just a comment, because you asked what was useful. I really like the idea that you are framing people going to the store to buy something as a way to contribute, because that's a really different mentality than the consumer's mentality, and I think it makes sense. People are affected by something, they're touched by something, they're moved, they're excited, and they want a way to participate.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I like that as a frame.
Organizations, their way of participating is they go to your site, how to book me. Then they hire you. You know, and you're just being clear, those pages on your website are training people how to use you best. Other useful stuff. We'll stick with useful stuff because we're almost out of time. But it'll keep anchoring things.
Holy God, resentment rate.
Your resentment rate.
That rocked my world.
It's like I have really like tough days coaching clients, and what keeps me loving them is the money. Is how I'm going to get through today right now with you. Is I'm like, wow, this is a lot of heavy lifting, and you know, that check or that PayPal payment, I'm like, okay, we're good. So adjust those rates accordingly.
I have a question.
Yeah, no, that's fine too.
One of the other things that I've been running into lately, and I think it's common in the sex ed community, is an event will book you to do X, and then a week before they say, can you also do Y? And then as you arrive at the event, it is now, can you do X, Y, and Z? But you're still only getting comp/paid for X. When in that process do you say, I really want to help you out, I want to help out your thing, but you need to comp me at the level that I'm actually working?
Okay, everybody take a deep breath. Say, no thank you.
No, thank you.
I can't.
I can't.
I won't. Well, no, won't. You can say I won't, but like, I can't. Like, I need to this, and this, right? Now, the reason I do like a conference like this, because I do a lot of work with sex educators, like, D. Dennis is going to get 350 sex geeks in a hotel with me for the weekend? Okay, that sounds like a great idea. You know, and then it's my job in this kind of model to figure out how I make money off of it. That's why it's easy for me to say yes to these kinds of things. You know, some of you, it's like, that's not going to work, right? And you got to figure that out for yourself. So it's really about self-care. You really have to, if you can't say no powerfully, it's hard for you to even trust your yes. If you can't say no powerfully, I can't trust your yes. So again, like, figure out what your needs are, start creating those parameters so you have your policies. So much easier to say, like, wow, that's a really great offer, but I have to pass. Like, that doesn't fit in with what I'm trying to get accomplished this year or what my needs are. If I say yes to this, I'll get angry at you and resentful, and that organization or event doesn't need that. How else can I help you? Oh, I can tweet that for you. Awesome. Then they still think you're great. Now, the end of the AVN story, the next year they called me. They're like, Reid, we want you to host the O Awards again. I'm like, awesome, what's your budget? And they're like, we can do this, this, and this for you. I'm like, awesome. And I got paid, and all my expenses taken care of. To get in front of the toy industry again, and do my, song and dance, and then spend the weekend talking to each one of them, like, what are your initiatives this year? What do you want to get done? How can I help you? And I'm building those relationships. And now when I, have like Sex Toy of the Month Club or something, I call them up and I'm like, can you send me a bunch of stuff? And they're like, what do you want? I'm like, this, and this. Usually when they go, what do you want? I'm like, I want money. You probably don't have that. They're like, no, sometimes we have money. I'm like, well, what do you got? Give it all. Give me all of it. And have it be fun. Other stuff. We've got a couple more minutes. People who haven't spoken up yet. Is that you back there? No? Okay. Okay, so now we'll go you, then you, then you, then you. Yes, who'd I point at? Yeah.
The Fearless. I really like the
Fearless.
Also, how much are your t-shirts?
How much are my t-shirts? They're 20. Sugar's selling them, and I give them a cut. So then I don't have to do anything, and then Dee doesn't yell at me for trying to sell stuff in the hallway. And then I'm driving all this traffic to Sugar. And then they end up ordering shirts from me and selling them in their stores with my URL on. So like then it starts to feed itself. Mostly I'm looking, I also am a geek, and this is a great icebreaker. So I'm flagging. I'm flagging sex geek. Yes?
I like the idea of having a store to buy stuff because I'm in the media all the time. It's like people go to my website and then they're like, oh, cool website, what do I do now?
Yeah. And again, like my newsletter list is really small because I didn't have that stuff really dialed in right. And my store, like I just put my store up like a couple of months ago. Like you can be successful and still do this all wrong. But you have to work so much harder. Other stuff.
Can I suggest that having people buy your porn is not necessarily the best way to convert on people wanting to spend money on it?
You could suggest that, and as a geek, I would be like, there might be a way, depending on what your goals are as an educator, as a business owner, for the next several years. Right? I still struggle with whether I should do like explicit sex education porn, because.
Oh no, mine's not.
Yeah, but yours.
The non-sex education part of the porn.
Yeah. So, but this is about getting paid what you're worth as a sex educator. You know, so are you educating people with your stuff? Like you and I can geek out on brand stuff later. Other stuff. Yeah.
Just you're mentioning how hard it is for you to accept help from others.
Yeah.
It's 10 years into what I'm doing, that's still my biggest one.
Oh my God, I freak out all the time. Like, understand, like, what you're seeing is very, like, I trained myself to be able to do this. Like, I'm really insecure.
Can I piggyback on that? There's a TED Talk video teaching you how to ask, and it's eloquently done, and how to ask total strangers to help you out.
Yeah.
So check it out.
What I recommend to quick on this, and then we have 1 minute left, is be transparent. Tell people, like, I have a horrible time asking for things. May I ask you something? Like, just lead with the truth, and the truth will set you free for the most part. But charge more money for the truth, basically, is probably the other side of it. All right, take a deep breath. Good. Thank you guys so much. Yay. Now.